Hola, bienvenidos al podcast del subjuntivo en cláusulas adjetivas. Hello, I'm Senora Stanius. This is our vodcast on when you need to use a subjunctive in adjective clauses. Please make sure you have your grammar sheet with you as you go through this vodcast, and also stop to take notes and fill in examples as necessary. Also writing down any questions you might have for me at the end. Metas de aprendizaje. Again, we need to remember that sometimes we need to use subjunctive in adjective clauses. So students need to be able to identify when do we use the subjunctive. We would use it when the antecedent is unknown versus when it is known, we will be using the indicative mood. So we're going to go through a very quick review of how do we form the subjunctive and go from there. Here are, as our review, remember when we want to form the subjunctive, we will begin with that yo form in the present indicative. Like if my verb, if I have tener, I would say yo form tengo, take off that o, and then you're going to put opposite endings. So with an AR verb, there they are. And for your ER or IR verb, like tener, so it'd be tengo, take off the o, que tenga, for example. Remember that these are the situations when we need to use a subjunctive in our dependent clause. We have to have that change in subject, we have to have our que, and then any one of these situations in our independent clause. And then again, we're looking right now mostly at that uncertainty or unknown with adjective clauses. So, do we need to use a subjunctive or indicative? The subjunctive has to be used in an adjective clause that refers to a person, place, thing, or idea that either does not exist or whose existence is uncertain or indefinite, hypothetical. So the examples below are going to show you when we would use indicative and when we use subjunctive in Spanish. Necesito el libro que tiene información sobre Venezuela. I need the book that has information about Venezuela. It's known, therefore it's indicative. Necesito un libro que tenga información sobre Venezuela. I need a book that has information about Venezuela. I'm uncertain if it exists, but it's what I need. Therefore, it's subjunctive in our dependent clause. A couple more examples. Quiero vivir en esta casa que tiene jardín. I want to live in this house that has a garden. Versus, quiero vivir en una casa que tenga jardín. I want to live in a house that has a garden. Finally, en mi barrio hay una heladería que vende helado de mango. In my neighborhood, there's an ice cream shop that sells mango ice cream. Versus, en mi barrio no hay ninguna heladería que venda helado de mango. In my neighborhood, there is no ice cream shop that sells mango ice cream. There you can see, hopefully, the differences between when do I use indicative, when do I use subjunctive. Now, when the adjective clause refers to a person, place, thing, or idea that is clearly known, again, it's certain, definite, we have to use the indicative. Here are our examples. Quiero ir al supermercado que vende productos venezolanos. I want to go to the supermarket that sells Venezuelan products. Busco al profesor que enseña japonés. I'm looking for the professor who teaches Japanese. Conozco a alguien que va a esa peluquería. I know someone who goes to that beauty shop. Y tengo un amigo que vive cerca de mi casa. I have a friend who lives near my house. Again, all of these situations that this person, place, thing, or idea is clearly known. It's definite, exists, therefore we have to use indicative. And talk quickly about a personal a. That personal a is not used with direct objects that are hypothetical people. However, if we're using alguien or nadie, then we always must have that personal a when they are direct objects. A few examples. Necesitamos un empleado que sepa usar computadoras. Hypothetical person. We need an employee who knows how to use computers. Might exist, might not exist. We don't know. Therefore, we have to use subjunctive, que sepa, and we do not use that personal a. Necesitamos al empleado que sabe usar computadoras. We need the employee who knows how to use computers. This person exists, therefore we have to use a personal a. Buscamos a alguien que pueda cocinar. We're looking for someone who can cook. That person is hypothetical, however, alguien is a direct object and therefore has to have a personal a. No conocemos a nadie que pueda cocinar. Again, personal a is used because nadie is a direct object. When are we going to really use this? ¿Cuándo usaremos esto? We often will use the subjunctive in these questions. We're asking people for information and we're not really sure if this information exists or doesn't exist, or if this person knows the answer or doesn't. That's where the uncertainty, the hypothetical, unknown comes in. The flip of this is when the person answers the question. If they do know the information, they would use the indicative in your sentence. If you don't know the answer, you would also use the subjunctive. So here's an example. I'm asking someone, ¿Hay un parque que esté cerca de nuestro hotel? Is there a park that's near our hotel? I don't know. The person does know the answer, therefore they tell me, sí, hay un parque que está muy cerca del hotel. Yes, there's a park that's very near the hotel. Indicative is used because that person knew the answer. There are a few verbs that are going to kind of give us a hint that we're going to be using the subjunctive in that adjective clause and that dependent clause. And these are what they are. So if we use buscar in our independent clause, or conocer, no encontrar, hay, haber, necesitar, and querer. These again are going to be verbs that we just kind of have a heads up. Chances are we will need to use a subjunctive in our adjective clause. This is it. Hasta mañana. Be sure and complete the Google form that you will find below this podcast. Gracias.